All right, Jackie, try talking.
Okay, how's this sound?
Perfect.
Sounding better?
Yeah. This is the one we're going to use.
Good. Okay.
Let me just
Okay.
just get rid of this. All right. Sounds good. Let's start this.
Good. Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of El SuperCast. With me today is Jackie Ray Newman-Jones, also known as Debbie from Manos, Hands of Fate. How are you doing today, Jackie?
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm doing well.
So let's start right off the bat with Manos, the sequel. What news can you share with us?
Manos returned. Well, we did a Kickstarter last year about this time, successfully, and we got our script together at about the same time. That was with it was Rachel Jackson, Tanya Atomic, and I wrote the script, and we did it all through Google Docs and Skype, and anyway, we wrote a really good script. I'm very, very happy with it. And then we cast it, and sets, costumes, a lot of work between February and August 1st was when we started filming. And we filmed the whole thing in like 10, 16 to 18-hour days.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. But everybody showed up. Everybody was incredible. I mean, we had a couple of Kickstarter backers that earned the extra and walk-on parts, and that was just fabulous having them here. And Diane Marie, who played my mother in the original, is back, and she's playing my mother again in this sequel. And my dad had a cameo, and we worked hard to get his on-screen and vocal stuff done right away because of his age and health. And we got the film completed. We had a cast and crew party. My dad got to be there, and it was that was really a shining moment when my dad walked into the party and all these people had cameras and So he had that experience in August while he was still doing well, and then he passed away suddenly November 11th, and but just a few days before he died, he and I got together because I was heading to Chicago for a screening of the restoration of Manos and to appear at the Chicago Music Box. And so I got together with him to have him sign a few books, because I was doing book signings, and where we were in the film, I got to show him himself. I got to show him some behind-the-scenes stuff that had already been edited, and so for that, that's the main reason I think I did this film was for my dad, and he's not going to see the whole thing, but he really got to enjoy being part of it.
Well, that's pretty much all you can ask for, you know. It's sad that he passed. I just think that, you know, in his own way, he did his final part to contribute.
Oh, he did. He just enjoyed the Manos fandom so much. You know, I used to joke that I channeled him with the fans, and I did, because he was private and he wasn't on Facebook, but I would share things with him. I would he didn't even have his own computer, so I'd print things out, you know, screenshots, and I would show him things, and so he really did get to enjoy it, you know, in as much as he wanted to. In fact, towards the end, in this last year, since we did Manos Returns, it was the first time he said to me a couple of times, he said, "I wish I was younger and stronger because I would love to go with you." He said he would have loved to gone with me to Chicago, and that I never expected to hear him say anything like that, because he stuck real close to home. He was, he died just a few days before a week or so before his 81st birthday. So he was getting up there,
Yeah. Well, with every movie, there's a little bit of controversy. So now we got to talk about the elephant that's in the room. What the hell is Joe up to now?
Well, it's not. I think our film is not necessarily his target, but what he's done is he filed for a trademark on the title, Manos, the Hands of Fate. And so now, normally when you file a trademark, you're filing for something that is a series or a body of work, or you have something planned. And this is really odd because Manos, the Hands of Fate has been in public domain for 50 years. Now, Joe does own the copyright on the script, but the script with the previous title, the one his father titled it, which is Fingers of Fate. That's actually the second title for Hal's script. But that's the one that's copyrighted. So Fingers of Fate is copyrighted, and the body of the script. The film is not copyrighted or trademarked, the title. So anyhow, he's attempting to trademark this name, and it should have just been kicked out by the trademark examiner right off the bat. Mm-hmm. But for some strange reason, the guy spent a total of 23 minutes researching Manos and apparently thought it was valid for Joe to do this. So we have a very short period of time in which to file a letter of protest, which we've already done with our attorney. And the next step is to file an letter of opposition. So the letter of protest is very, very limited. You can't make a case for yourself. You can't really point to anything or demonstrate anything. But the letter of opposition allows that, and that's what we're doing next. And so we're doing our GoFundMe on GoFundMe. And I actually haven't checked it this morning, but we're very close to our halfway point. We're looking for $7,000, and that covers the work we've already done, the letter of protest. That covers the opposition and filing fees, which are pretty expensive, and our attorney fees. And we feel really confident that once we demonstrate why Manos has been in public domain and should stay there, and why that title isn't valid for one person to exclusively copyright it, somebody who hasn't contributed. You know what I mean? It's like there's all these Manos projects out there. I suppose if we all got together and called it a series of work, then we could trademark the name. But for the most part, we just want to stop it, because in the past Joe has demonstrated with no legal right at all. He's issued cease and desist to several people, including myself, for doing Manos-related projects. He's told me in the past that I can't sell T-shirts without giving him a cut. He once even told me I couldn't talk about Manos, which is ridiculous, of course.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
But anyway, that's what it's about. It's just ridiculous. It's like he wants to be in control of it, but he doesn't contribute anything. And I think that Manos was made. It was been in public domain, and the only reason MST was able to air it in the first place was because it was available. If Joe had his way from the beginning, then it would have just sat in a closet collecting dust. Nobody would know anything about it.
Yeah.
It's not automatic that Manos is famous. It didn't happen by accident. Well, it did, but it hasn't continued to grow because people are just sitting on their butts doing nothing. It's because of all these great projects. And me personally, I haven't made any money doing anything Manos. I hope to on my own efforts, but nobody's really making money at it. It's all for the love of it.
Yep.
It's for the love of Manos. Exactly. Manos wouldn't be Manos if it hadn't been available for people to access for 50 years. Well, for 20, how many years? It's 1993. You do the math, I'm an artist.
Yeah. So what about that other character who is running around calling himself Torgo? Has he dropped out of the face of the universe?
Oh yeah. He's he walked on the stage of this thing using a false name to most people, calling himself Rupert Munch, and AKA Torgo, and he had 3 names, and I even have an email where he signed his email with all 3 names. So I think it's a little identity crisis or something. But anyway, once things fell apart, then he just disappeared. He was doing the first sequel to Manos. Joe Warren involved, and then they teamed up trying to get the trademark on it, which didn't work, and then it was the first battle. What was that, in 2000? Gosh, I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
It's been over 5 years since we've been dealing with one way or another. Always, if you're doing a Manos project, you got to look over your shoulder. That's, you can be sure that someday he'll come along and go, hey, where's my piece?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's my take on it. That's my take. He will disagree. If you interviewed him, you're going to get a different story. And that's funny because you said the elephant in the room, which reminds me of an old parable about 5 blind men and an elephant. And they're all handling this elephant, which no one in their village has ever seen before, and they describe it differently. The one holding the trunk feels a thick rope, the one touching the side feels a brick wall, the one feeling the ear feels a giant fan, the leg is a pillar, and on, so it's not that, it's perception. But I just really don't understand his position. I don't understand how somebody wants to just possess this thing and hold it to their chest and go, it's mine.
It's bizarre to me how people get drawn to it. And I'll say this. There was one time where I was interviewing, well, I don't want to say his real name, but that guy, where he was like...
Oh, you can say it. Go ahead. You can say it. There's no problem. You can't, people do what they do. Philip Francis, that's his name, but...
Yeah.
He's out of the picture for a long time.
He seemed like a nice guy, but, something kind of off about him.
Well, that's how we all got involved. It got ugly. It was bad. I felt terrible dragging my father into that. And that's another reason why I just had to do Manos Returns. And, I felt in some way, I felt strongly that Diane Marie and William Bryan Jennings, the son of the sheriff, and my dad, and myself, of course, and then all the other people that got into this thing, that we had to... I just wanted to give them a chance, to do something that they could be proud of. And I feel that we did something they can be proud of. And it's not an Academy Award film, it's super low budget. but the talented people we had and what everybody brought to it is pretty remarkable. I'm proud of it.
So let me ask you this. When does it come out, or has it already come out?
It's in post-production now. I mean, we're really close to the whole thing being completed.
Okay.
And we're submitting to several film festivals now based on scheduling, because there's film festivals we'd like to do that are far down the road, and the rules with film festivals is you can't release it publicly before you show it there. So that's kind of what we're going to be waiting on. I mean, it'll be ready really soon, but we need to show it at a couple, 2-3 festivals, and then we can release it publicly. So I'm guessing at this point we're probably talking spring or summer.
Well, that's pretty
just
good.
Depending on
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of it. I've seen the whole couple of rough cuts, and I'm very excited.
Well, I hope that it does very well, and that people will support it when it comes out.
Yeah, I do too. In the spirit of Manos, that's what we do. Creative people create, and that's my stand here. It's not this whole GoFundMe thing. I don't like to argue with anybody. This is making me sick. I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to do it because it's the principle of it. It's not just about Manos. It's about public domain. If something is available for you to create from, and then all of a sudden, 20-something, 30 years later, somebody pulls the rug and says, no, done, you can't do that. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah, I think it's strange that after all these years, something like that would happen.
Yeah, it's disheartening.
I also heard from another interview that you were in that they were talking to your lawyer.
Oh yeah, Ian. Mm-hmm.
And it was quite good. I really enjoyed that. They were they were swearing up a storm. I was like, oh man, this is rich.
Yeah.
They were very passionate about Manos. See, that's what you get. That's what you get when you put a whole bunch of people into the realm of, you're going to mess with what? Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah, and I think at this point it's just getting the word out. It's just like our Kickstarter. Once it was done, we had a bunch of people coming and saying, how did I not know about this? You can only reach so far.
Yeah.
And I'm putting so much time into this right now, just reaching out, and anybody that can, if people can't donate, then share it. Let people know, because it really is the principle of it, about the whole freedom of creation.
Well, all right.
And if people disagree with you, then that's fine too. But yeah, let's get the word out.
Definitely. Can you tell us what to look for in the GoFundMe that'll lead us to the putting money into the Manos defense team or defense force or whatever you want to call it?
Yes, let me, just one second. I'm had trouble with my computer this morning. I couldn't get it to open up. So let me just locate that link really quick here. Sorry about that.
So while you're locating the link, have you gone to any more conventions?
Let's see. Well, I did Crypticon last spring, and then then I went to Chicago Music Box. I was there on was it November 14th, I was there on November 10th. And then I also did a book signing for my book, Growing Up with Manos, Hands of Faith, on the 13th in Chicago. And then I went to Seattle when was that? It was December. I was in Seattle at the Blue Mouse Theater for a screening of the restoration of Manos, and I did a book signing up there at Comics Dungeon. And now I'm pitching to other conventions and colleges and universities. I intend to go do a speaking tour, do presentations at colleges and universities on the subject of Manos, because, as you know, it's been taught in film school as everything not to do in filmmaking. But interestingly, one professor that I met is very interested in having me come and talk to gender studies class. And I've been working on a presentation for that. So I see the ability to go talk to a lot of different people, you know, on a variety of subjects.
You know, if I had the money, if I had the money, I would bring you over to Connecticut, and we would do the whole convention scene over here, because there's quite a lot in the East Coast. Well,
you send me the ones that you think I would fit, and I'll connect with them. That's what I'm telling people. I'm looking around the country. I have a map right in front of me, and I'm like, well, where do I want to go?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm looking. You know, it's like, pick something. It gets overwhelming if you cast it out too wide. I have to kind of pick and choose and throw the net, you know, throw it out there and see who's interested.
Oh, yeah.
So, here it is. So it's GoFundMe.com/ManosFate. ManosFate.
All right, and there you have it, folks. That's the link where you could show some support, some much-needed support, because everybody knows that if it wasn't for Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Manos Hands of Fate being public domain, none of this would have ever happened. Me, for one thing, I never would have had the opportunity to probably even know about Manos Hands of Fate or find Torgo so fascinating. It would have been a travesty to have this gem of a bad movie be a one-time fad or a one-time memory. You know, something like this that's so bizarre and so strange deserves to be protected for the future.
I agree. Thank you. Well, yeah, I hope people, you know, we've had, it says here, 116 people have donated $2,884 in 14 days. We're close to halfway, but the majority of those donations are very small. I mean, we have a lot of $5 and $10 and $20 donations, sprinkled in with a couple of $100 donations, so no amount is too small. It adds up.
Yeah, it adds up.
14 days, we're close to $3,000. So our goal is, though, by the end of February to have all that, the 7,000 together, because we really are in a time frame. The procession of how things work in the trademark office doesn't change. You know, they're not going to stop. We have to act within a certain time frame, because once that's published, then it's done. Nothing we can do.
So, let's say that you guys get to 7,000 and things go your way. Then Joe can't do anything? He can't just try sometime later when he has more money?
He probably can, and he will, most likely. So whatever happens, if we end up with excess money or we don't spend all the money that we've raised, then it goes into an escrow account that our attorney holds on to. And if anybody has a Manos-related issue with Joe Warren in the future, then we will donate those funds to help anybody, not just ourselves.
That's awesome. That is fantastic.
You know, like in a perfect world, if this thing just goes off smooth and we don't have to file the letter of opposition, then then we retain those funds in an escrow account for other people because it's guaranteed. That's just how he behaves, and as it gets more popular, he's going to want his piece, and that's fine. You know, he can go create his own thing. That's fine. Nobody's stopping him.
Which he should. You know, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with creating your own interpretation of Manos. Hell, when I made the video game Path of Brother Lou, I debuted that on PAX East, and I was at the top of the world back then. It didn't matter.
You know, he's got a lot of stuff of it. You know, that was his dad, and he's got a lot of other stuff of his dad. His dad wrote some plays and musical. His dad was pretty creative. He wrote a book, and there's so much that he could be doing to share his dad with the world that people would really love. They'd love to learn more about the guy behind Manos. And I don't know, can't we just get along?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, Jackie, it has been a pleasure having you on my show. You're always welcome to come back. And please, if you ever have the opportunity and the funds, come to New York. We'll hang out sometime.
Okay, I will. Well, you know, if you have some cons you think that I would do well at, then please give me the names. I'll follow up.
All right. And with that note, we are out of here. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.